All right, good morning, everyone. We are on lesson 12 today, and our goal today is to use measurement tools to convert mixed number measurements to smaller units. So when we're talking about mixed measurements, we're thinking about a mixture of whole numbers and fractions, and sometimes just fractions. We're going to start by showing how to do this using a tape diagram. We're going to start with number 1. So it says 1/3 yard equals how many feet? So you first need to remember how many yards are in a feet. And every time you have a conversion, you might want to just write it off to the side. And we know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. And if you don't have that memorized, you can always go back and look in previous lessons of this unit. Okay, so we're going to draw a tape diagram to show this. So we're going to draw 1 yard, and we are going to divide that into 3 spaces to show feet. So each of these is 1 foot. So we know that 3 feet equals 1 yard. So we have 3 feet down here, and that equals 1 yard. They're equivalent, they equal each other. So let's take a look at our fractions. So we have 1/3 of a yard. So that would be just one of these. And that is going to be 1 foot. 2/3 of a yard would be 2 of these. So that's going to be 1 foot, 2 foot. 3/3 of a yard would be all of them. So that would be 3 feet. If you need to, pause the video to catch up. Okay, we're going to move on to number 2. Now we have a mixed number. 2 2/3 of a yard show that it equals 8 feet. So we're going to start by doing our yards. So we're going to do 1 yard and 2 yards. And then we have part of a yard. So we'll do 3. So this shows 1 yard, 2 yards, 3 yards. Okay, we're going to divide them into 3, each of the holes of 1 yard into 3 feet, because 1 yard equals 3 feet. Here we go. So we have 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 feet equals 1 yard. Okay. Now, how many of these do we have? Well, we only have 2 2/3. So let's color in a full yard. That's 1. There's 2. And then 2/3. So just 2/3 of this one. 1, 2. Okay, let's count how many feet we have. 1 foot. Well, let's just do them all together. We don't need to count them each. So 1 foot, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, and there you go. That's showing 2 2/3 yards equals 8 feet. A lot easier when you do it that way. Let me show you a little bit of the way you can do this using math. So if I know that 2 yards equals, if I know that 1 yard equals 3 feet, I can multiply that by 2. So 2 times 3 yards, 2 yards times 3 feet to equal 1 yard would equal 6 feet. Okay, and then to do the fraction part, you can also do, it's more of a thinking of a part. So you're doing 2/3 of 3. So that's going to be 2 feet. And then add those two together. How did I get 2 feet? Well, I divided here. 3 divided by 3 equals 1. And then multiplied by 2 equal 2. Okay? We're going to skip. I'll let you do number 3 on your own. If you want to pause the video, go ahead and do it real quick. And then we're moving on to number 4. So we're working with gallons and quarts. So you need to know that conversion. So you should know by now that 4 quarts equals 1 gallon. If you don't know that, you can go back in previous lessons to look. Okay, we're going to draw a tape diagram. So we're going to draw 3 full ones, 2, 3, and one more to show 4. So all of these up here are showing gallons. 1 gallon, 1 gallon, so that's 2 altogether, 1 gallon, and 1 gallon. Okay, there's 4 quarts to a gallon, so we're going to divide this into fourths. Each section into 4 equal spots. Okay, let's shade in 3 3/4. So we have 1, 2, 3. There's 1 whole gallon. There's 2 whole gallons. 3 whole gallons, and now 3 out of 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's count how many quarts we have all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, and that proves that 3 3/4 of a gallon equals 15 quarts. All right, I'm going to show you like I did up here with the math. So if I take 3 gallons times 4 quarts to a gallon, that's going to be 12 quarts. The fraction's a little trickier. So I know that each gallon is 1/4, so we're going to add 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. That equals 3/4, which is how many quarts? 1, 2, 3. And add those two together, and you get 15 quarts. Okay. All right, I will let you do A and B using the picture over here on your own, but I do want to show you this one. And now this is where we can use a little more division. So how many feet equals 1/4 foot? All right, well, I know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot, right? So I can look at that and there's 12. And I'm trying to divide this into fourths. So we're going to take 12 and we're going to divide that into fourths. Okay, so 12 divided by 4 is 3. So 3 of these, 3/12, equals the same as 1/4. Let's show that using equivalent fractions. So if I divide this by 3, 3 divided by 3 equals 1, and 12 divided by 3 equals 4. And that equals it perfectly. Well, how many inches is that? Well, that's going to be 3 inches. So 3/12 of a foot or 1/4 of a foot, both of those equal 3 inches. All right, moving on. I'm going to show you this one on the back here. So now we have 2/3. So again, let's use this bottom part of the fraction to divide. So we're going to take 12 divided by 3. That's going to be 4. So if I divide each of the 12 feet into thirds, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now I'm going to but I have 2 units of that. So I need to multiply that by 2. That's going to equal 8 inches altogether. Okay. So let's show that using division. We go 4 equivalent fractions. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Oh, that's not true. Okay, so I think this needs to be 8. Okay, so 8/12. So 8 divided by 4 equals 2, and 12 divided by 4 equals 3. Now we got it. Just a little mistake there. Okay, so 2/3 of a foot is 8 inches. All right, moving on to number 6. Now they want you to do this without showing a number line. You still need to know how many, the conversions. So how many yards are in a feet? So just make sure that you can write that off to the side. So I know that there are 3 feet equals 1 yard. Okay, so I have 4 yards. And so how many feet is that? So let's multiply. So that's going to be 4 times 3. That's going to be 12 feet. And then I want to do the fraction. So 2/3 of a yard. So think about, well, what is 1 yard? How many feet is 1 yard? Well, that's going to be, 2/3 yard. How many feet make up 1 yard? 3 feet. So I break that into 3 groups. That's going to be 1 foot each. So I have 2 of those. So I'm going to do 2 feet. So now add those two together. 12 plus 2 is 14 feet. Okay, let's move on. So what do we know here? We know that there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. Okay, so let's start with the whole number. So we're going to multiply 7 times 4. That equals 28 quarts. Okay. If I know that there are 4 quarts in I know that there's 4 quarts in 1 gallon. If I know that I have 3 of them, so I have 3 quarts. So now I can add these two together. 28 plus 3 is 28, 29, 30, 31. So altogether I have 31 quarts. All right. Moving on to letter E. Okay, so I know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. And so this is going to be 12 inches. 1 times 12 is 12. And then what's half of a foot? Well, what's half of 12? 1/2 of 12 would be the same as 12 divided by 2, which is 6, plus 6 inches. 12 plus 6 is 18. All right, and again, we're going to be using 12 inches equals a foot, so we're going to have 12 inches here. And then what is 1/4 of 12? This is where you can use division. 12 divided by 3 equals 4. So that's going to be 4 inches. Add those together. 12 plus 4. I'm sorry, did I do that wrong? It's 12 divided by 4 equals 3. Ugh, silly me. Okay, sorry about that. So 12 plus 3 is 15. I got a little ahead of myself. All right, so again, you're dividing by the bottom. Okay. All right, do the last 2 on your own and call it good. We're almost to the end of our unit. Look at this. We got lesson 13 tomorrow, lesson 14 on Wednesday, and on Thursday, we're just going to do lesson 15, and we're not doing 16. So you will be done with all of the 4th grade math for the year. All right. Have a great day.